If I would go freelance, like tomorrow, if I would quit Prismax and go freelance, I would stop making visuals instantly.
I'm Sean Bowes, concert visual designer in Los Angeles, California, and today we're talking to Locke. If you're a VJ or even a concert goer, you probably know Locke. He's a motion designer based out of Belgium. He's been full-time at Prismax, the company responsible for visuals at the world famous Tomorrowland Festival and many others, for about 13 years as the main designer. He's the creator of some of the most used VJ packs out there, the VJ Survival Kit series, and many other awesome packs. You've seen his custom visuals on stage with Excision, Dimitri Vegas, Tiesto, to name a few. You might have heard of them. I'm so excited to speak with him about his approaches to VJing and VJ content. So without further ado, Locke, welcome. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Hi. I'm going to clip that clip and I'm going to use it as my resume whenever I'm going to change my job.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple things on there. So I'm excited to talk about a few of those. Can we go back to the beginning and can you describe the moment that you decided that you wanted to create concert visuals as a career?
That's a big one. The concert visuals, I kind of rolled into it. It's not really like sometimes you hear these people and they go to concerts and then they see the visuals and they want to do it. With me, I went to animation school, and how do you say it? Like the main course that I did was like animation direction. So it was a classical education where you learn to draw, animate. It was primarily focused on 2D traditional animation, and then some 3D animation, some After Effects, sound editing, normal editing, script writing, stuff like that. So it was really this compacted education class focused on producing an entire animation film. So in my last year, we were responsible for a graduation project. And in the project, you had to do a case for it could be a made up company or a made up project or product or whatever, or it could be something existing and then they could use it, or they didn't have to use it, just find something to make pretty free. And then there was this local club in Belgium. I was like, okay, I go there. Might be cool to make like a small commercial or like a presentation film, animate something for them. And that's where I came into contact with Joris, the owner of Prismax. And from there, it kind of started rolling. So I graduated from school. Actually, that was my last year. And then at the end of my last year, they made me, do the year again, like I failed on my last year, which kind of sucked because I had like 2 or 3 job offers, but I had to do my year again. That was kind of political. And then when I ended my last year for the second time, it was kind of like I could choose. I could go to Brussels or Antwerp in Belgium and work at an animation studio, or I could stay closer to home. And then yours, Prismax, was pretty close to my home. And he gave me a job offer, which was kind of like a leap of faith, because like at a studio, you kind of knew at what you were getting into. It was like start at the bottom, be the coffee monkey, animate, do long hours, and then work your way up. And then hopefully it's a successful studio where you can like make a career or jump to another company. Or I could work at Joris at Prismax, and he was like an up and coming content creation. And the cool thing was like it was a very small studio, so I was responsible for a lot of stuff. I was like I started out like a 23-year-old kid, and I could do everything. Like all the projects that came in, I was like responsible for the animation, the modeling. Yeah, pretty cool. And that's kind of like how I rolled into the content creation. And then back then, Prismax was pretty small. Like we were a pretty local company. We did like visuals for Belgium artists, Belgium TV, some Dutch artists, festivals, but like your local festival, like 10,000 people, 15,000 people, stuff like that. And then we grew, and I grew with it. So that's kind of like how I came in. And then the VJing just like came with it. So
Nice.
that's kind of it.
Yeah, awesome. So let's see. You talked a little bit about your education, more of like a traditional commercial animation type education. Did you learn 3D in that program as well? Or?
Yeah, but that's like I started college 2003, and back then, like the digital development in Belgium was pretty limited. You have like these big studios, and I think the major hubs were Berlin, Paris, and London. That's where like MPC was, Gunpla Studio Animation, like all the big dogs were like in the big cities. And then Belgium was like this, I don't know, like people knew 3D was up and coming, but the main focus for jobs anyway, if you wanted to like find a decent job after school, the old teachers, which was also like a thing, like they were like these, rusted old animation 2D people. So they were like very focused on, you need to learn traditional cell animation. And we had to like paint on like the cellophane. I don't know if you like, and like animate with animation packs and like scan all your papers in and some basic After Effects. But like the 3D was like this. If you want to try it out, that's okay. But if you suck at it, it's not that big of a deal. But like if you sucked at 2D animation, they were gonna fail you big time. So that was like kind of the vibe back then. But me personally, like I was like inspired by Jurassic Park, Toy Story, Pixar, Disney, like all these 3D animations. I was like, yeah, I want to do 3D. That's super cool. So I was like more focused on the 3D stuff and less on the 2D stuff. And that's like also why they made me fail my last year. Like I made you had to do two projects, and like all the teachers were like, oh, you can draw so pretty and you're so good at drawing. And I was like, no, I want to do 3D animation because that's where the future is, and that's what I want to do when I graduate. Like, yeah, I was like, they made me do it 2D animation, and then I was like, okay, you're graduated. And then it kind of sucked. But yeah, it was my education was very, very, very focused on 2D animation. Like we had some After Effects, and then like back then I was educated in Lightwave 3D. But I switched cinema like 6 years ago, I think. Yeah.
So how did you go about learning 3D outside of school, and then maybe what made you switch to cinema?
Yeah.
Aside from nobody using Lightwave. But yeah,
that's true. I think last week even they quit. Like they stopped developing the entire software. So good thing I quit. Yeah. But for the learning, I think I started 3D. Like I started school 2004, and then it was only in your second year that you really had to start learning some 3D. And back then it was like really technical manuals, and that was like how you learned how the software worked. And after that was like more of this, like YouTube wasn't a thing back then. It was, you had to try stuff out and then go into these forums, like really specific forums with maybe 5 or 6 members, and then post your problems and then wait for 4 or 5 days to have like a reply, because not everybody was checking the forums every day. Yeah, it was a hassle back then. If compared to like kids today, like sometimes when I'm on Instagram, you see like these 16-year-old kids that are pumping out like these Octane renders, and I'm like, Jesus, that's insane. Like when I was 16, I was drawing on paper. I didn't know what modeling was or what Octane was, or that's insane. Thank God I had, for the 3D, I had like this crazy insane teacher that was really pushing people to like learn 3D. He was like one of the younger teachers. He was really awesome. He was like one of my biggest inspirations to like push myself and be better at modeling and be quicker and learn my shortcuts and, like work proper, have edge loops, don't be sloppy, do your texturing, do your tagging, all that stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we take for granted how much faster you can learn with video and with all the archives of all of your forum conversations.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And then like the switch to cinema was like more of a studio thing. Like I was I was the only one that studied at that specific school of all the people that work at Prismax, or we often use as freelancers. They were all switched to cinema. And then like the logical step for me was like, okay, and then you see what cinema can do. And I'm like, okay, like in the beginning, like with every new software, you're like, nah, I can do that too, or I can do this, I can do that. I don't want to switch. And then it kind of just happened. Like I was like, okay, it doesn't hurt to learn two softwares. And then I learned cinema. And then I think 4 months in or something, I just dropped Lightwave and went cinema completely.
So it was largely because the people around you were using it, or something else about it?
Yeah. No. That was like the main reason. And then once you're used to like the software, it's I just switched. I was like, man, I should have done this way sooner. Like I think it's like a thing of me, like being afraid of software. The same goes with a lot like Substance Painter. I don't know how long I delayed learning it. ZBrush the same. I was like, nah, this interface, it sucks. It's too difficult. I don't want to learn for 4 hours. And then you do the 4 hours. And then I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? It's one of those things.
Yeah, I have a problem with that as well. There's too many options out there. It's like,
I
don't want to keep jumping around.
Except Houdini. I will never learn Houdini. That's way too complicated.
I've tried. I took like an intro thing, and I was like, oh, sweet. I just made a plane effector after a day. Like,
and I was like, what else can you do? I can only do that.
Yeah. And I don't remember how to do it either.
Yeah.
So I can do that if I watch 4 hours of tutorials.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Are there any other tools you are looking into, or any like new technology that you're intrigued by recently?
I think everybody in the event industry, I learned Unreal the last couple of months. I think it was September 2020 when we made the jump to Unreal. And then after that, it's like kind of a go-to, like all the stuff that we do. I think 70% of what we do at Prismax now is just like virtual events or visuals made in Unreal. So Unreal is the biggest one of the couple of years. And then ZBrush, I learned 2018, 2019. I learned Substance Painter. That's kind of it. Try to do like one software thing a year just to keep me fresh.
Awesome. We talked a little bit about your beautiful drawing skills. You are a pretty incredible illustrator. How does drawing and drawing skills help you out with motion design, animation?
A lot. I think like it's something you acquire in time, like the skill to assess and see things. Like the thing is, like I'm trying to learn to do like classical drawing now. Like I'm focused on, I have this like every 2 years or something, I buy this new sketchbook, and then I'm like, okay, I have to draw more because I can draw, but I want to be better and I don't want to give it up. And so I have like this every 2 years, like a 3-month push to draw more. And then I'm into like these classical drawing styles and stuff like that. And like when you do those, it's kind of like this how I said, like relearning how to see the world. Like you can say like draw an apple, and then you can draw an apple for every day, but every day the apple would look the same. It's not until you pick an apple, put it on a table, and like study it from different angles until you like learn that the apple you draw every day is in your head. It's not an apple, it's an idea of an apple you have, and you draw it every time. Everything is the same. And that's like this thing that where drawing, or the process of drawing, really helps me in creating 3D or edits or stuff like that. Like, don't be afraid to reassess what you have and how it looks, and like be afraid to like scratch entire parts of the thing you made, like kill your darlings. Like just cut half of what you have and start over or make it better, because it's not in your head. It's like what you had in your head, but like then when you see it in front of you, it's not what you, it's not the best. Let me put it that way. It's not the best. So I think drawing in that way is a great tool in understanding that. And then like the obvious things, like whenever you have to make a mood board or a storyboard, or when you have clients or meetings, it's a really good tool to have to like really quickly sketch out an RD, or have like the client already visualize how a certain frame could look, or what your idea is, or how you want to make the set or stuff like that. It's a really cool tool. I'm glad I can do it.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. It's not only just a tool, but it's the process.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's trains your brain to look differently.
Yes,
and you can see it, like you can see a lot of the remnants of that in your character designs and some of these recent packs that you've been doing.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
but yeah, really, really interesting. And I also saw in some corner of the internet that you had a graffiti period at one point. Can we take a little tangent? Do you have any like gnarly spots or crazy stories from that era that you could talk about without alerting the FBI?
No, I was a pretty scared kid doing graffiti. Like it was I think it was 14 or something. And then I saw this graffiti pieces and I was like inspired. I was interested in drawing already. So that was like as a 14-year-old kid, I was like, okay, I can do that. And then I just started drawing graffiti. And then like when I was 16 or something, I did like this workshop, started doing graffiti. But as a 16-year-old kid, those cans are expensive. So, I had some, and that funny story. Like I went to this workshop, I stole some of the cans that we used there, and then there was like this small cabin at like a street next to our house, and I at night I went back, like tagged the cabin, and then like a few days later, my dad came around like, who did that? I don't know. Yeah. And then when I went to college, I had like this period, like still was into graffiti. And then there were some other kids in the art school also into graffiti. I think that was like my most adventurous time, like nighttime graffiti, like doing some bridges and stuff like that, which was pretty cool, but glad I was never caught. And then some stories surfaced of people getting caught. And that was like, for me, that was like kind of the how do you say it, like the alarm bells started ringing in my head, like, those people, they were caught by the cops, now they have to pay, like there was these like crazy amounts, like thousands of euros to clean a bus or to clean a bridge or do like 100 hours of community service. And I was like, no thank you. So I kind of took, like, I think it was like more organic also, like I started doing art school, and then when I was in high school I just did letters. And then whenever I went on with people spray painting, they were like, okay, what are we going to do? And then you plan out your piece, and then everybody was doing letters. And then all the guys were like, no, you do some crazy faces, or do like a spray can with a face on it, or do a crazy banana or stuff like that. So I was like always kind of like doing the more illustrative stuff and not the lettering. And that was like also like when I started going to art school, which also like you were more inclined in art school to do more of like character studies and people and drawing hands and stuff like that. Also then with the classes in script writing, you were like starting to think more in a narrative way of your drawings. Like you can draw a face, but it's more if the face tells a story or something like that. So I was more like drawn from graffiti. It went more into like the street art phase where I did like a lot of stickering and a lot of stencils and stuff like that. And then like I kind of transitioned back into just like doing illustrations online. So yeah, I had like this graffiti period that evolved into like this street art period into this. Yeah, like also like when it's cool to do like when you're in college, and then like once you start working, it's like, why would I I don't have time to cut out stickers or make stencils, or I want to, learn stuff to do in my day job so I can be better at that. So it was like more of it was a passion like in school, and then I kind of dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's like it's in your DNA. Like whenever I think when 3 years ago I did a graffiti pack on Resloom, which was like also like sometimes you do these brainstorm sessions for yourself, like what am I gonna do for a new pack? And I was like, why haven't I made like a graffiti funny pack or something? And I was like, nah, nobody's gonna need that. And I was like, I don't want to burn myself out creatively, of like on a creative level, like always do the same. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do like a hand-drawn graffiti pack for Resolume. If someone wants to buy it, that's cool. If nobody wants to buy it, at least like it's something that I should have made, like it's in your DNA. It's part of your style. So it's like I have to do it.
Let's jump over to the VJ packs since we're talking them a little bit. What led to you releasing your first VJ pack? What was your sort of thought process behind it? What was your goal behind it? Can you tell me the story about how that first one came to be?
I was doing a paid gig for Prismax at an Ibiza nightclub, and there were like these Dutch guys installing the light wall, and I was going there to do custom visuals for the club, and they were talking about Resolume and how they didn't have like the right footage for Resolume, and they were really looking like for these general loops, and everything was really specific on Resolume. And I was there in the club, like making these really, really, really simple animations, like just a stroke going up and down, some BPM lines, like really simple After Effects stuff. And I was in the club for like 5 hours, hit the render queue, and I like made 50, 60 loops or something, like really quick, really basic LED animations. They're like, whoa, man, did you make this in 5 hours? That's insane. La, 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 la. You should make it back and people will use it. And that was like kind of the start of it. I did some research, and I was like, also like, it's cool to have like your own side game, like I said earlier, like this whenever you're in your day job, you have to do things like the client comes or the DJ comes and they want it this way, they want it that way, and then you're like, no, if you could do this or that, it will be a lot better. No, we want the logo in red, and we want this, and we want that, we want a skyline, we want draw neon lines, and we want all the cliches. I'm like, okay. And then you just do it, and I'm like, why? So it's more of like this creative egg I need to hatch. Yeah. And like that was the first. And then I think my first pack on Resolume was the heads up, and then like it was back in the day, like I didn't know like what the procedure was for Resolume to like upload a pack, so I mailed them with the Joris and Bart. And I was like, okay, I can make visuals. Do you need packs? How does it work? They were like, yeah, you can make a pack, but at first we have to see like if it's good enough, and the quality needs to be right, and it needs to be 20 visuals minimum. And I was like, whoa, fuck, they have quality control. I'm never gonna make it. And then I made like a few of these huts, and they're like, wow, that's insane. Yeah. And yeah, that's where it all started. And then like I was pretty hooked on making my own thing, but then the VJ Survival Kit, I had like this idea for like the first VJ Survival Kit I made. It was like more of I didn't see it as a VJ pack per se, but more of a asset library you can use in After Effects, and like just throw into After Effects, layer them, just generate some colors, put a glow on it, render them out, and you have like this infinite amount of loops you could make with 100 clips you could combine. You could combine these lines going sideways with circles growing in, and then put them on stencil Luma, cut them out, stuff like that. So that was like more of the intention. But then I released it, and people were just using them in Resolume, and then just colorize them then in Resolume and making loops that way. And I was like, sure, that's cool. And like that was like the first one that was like really insane. Like I was in the top 1 spot on the Resolume site for, I don't know, like 3 months, 4 months straight. I was like, whoa, this is insane. People really need like this kind of stuff. And then it was like VJ Survival Kit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, kind of pushing it. And now I was, I think at 5, I was like, okay, this is the last one. And then people were like, why don't you make more? I was like, okay, one more, 6. Yeah.
Yeah,
but they work. You know,
they do.
The thing,
there's a reason people use them so much.
For sure. Like the funny thing is, I was at Tomorrowland, Brazil, I think, and we were in the front of house, and I was like how you say, like what's the word, the house VJ or the resident VJ, like the main VJ for that stage. And we had a break. I went to get some food, came back. Like my colleague was sitting there with the VJ for I don't know who, and the VJ was sitting there. He was talking to my colleague, and my colleague was like just like doing some faders, you know, talking to the guy and just having like the stage live up a little. It was like 6 o'clock or something, just like the basic VJ stuff. And I came in, ate my food. And I heard them talking, and he was like, my colleague was like putting on VJ Survival Kit, and then the guest VJ, he was like bashing on Survival Kit. Everybody uses this. This is crap. Rah, 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 rah. And he's like, nah, he made it. Yeah, no, it's his stage. No, that's like he made VJ Survival Kit. And I was like, no, I didn't mean I hate it. It's just like everybody uses it. I'm like, no. You're entitled to your opinion. You can hate it. I don't mind. I was number 1 on Resolume 4 months straight.
Yeah, right. I guess you did all right off of my so you can laugh all you want.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like awesome. when I get a lot of hate, like also like on the Reddit forums or like on Facebook groups, like all the guys are like, VJ Survival Kit, why just make him yourself? Throw in an effector in cinema. Blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, just
go ahead.
Do it. Yeah.
But you didn't.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. Yeah.
But that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, you know. I don't mind. I stand by them.
Related to that, what do you think makes a good VJ pack, and what has made yours so successful?
I think I was the first one that did like the big bundle. I remember like going into Resolume, and then the talk I mentioned before with the Joris and Bart. It was like, okay, you have to do like a 20 loop minimum for a pack. And I was like, okay, that's a lot, because, you know, you're just hoping to put out like this quick pack. And before, I didn't really do 20 loops in like a team. Like when you do a DJ, it's more of a track-based approach. You know, you have like this track, and then you like 3 or 4 visuals in a team, and then you go on and you do the next track, which is a totally different scene or team or whatever. So 20 loops for me was like, whoa, man, what am I gonna do? 20 loops, like the heads-up display. Like, okay, how many pilots visuals can I make? And I was like, after 20, I was like, man, this is not my most, like the last loop wasn't that creative in my mind. It was just like this repetition, and I was like, okay, here's your 20 loops, and they were okay, it's good. And after that, also like when you see the pricing, I think back then it was only HD, and an HD pack on Resolume is like what, 60, 70 euros?
Something like that.
I'm not sure. Yeah, like 60. I was like, dude, that's 3 euros for one loop. That's insane. Like if you go to VJ Loops by Kyle, is you can get a loop for like $1, and you just pick and choose what you want. You can cherry pick the loops, and you don't need to buy all the fillers for a pack. So I was like, you know what? If people are gonna buy my stuff, I want them to have like a lot of loops for the 60 euros that they spend. So I was like, I think one of the first artists that with the VJ Survival Kit as well, that did like 100 loops a pack. And back then, that was also like a really within the content creators of Resolume, like a pretty controversial approach. Like people were kind of pissed off, because they were like, oh, dude, come on, man, 100 loops. Of course you're going to sell, you know? People get 100 and I have only a 30. Of course you're going to buy my packs. And then that was like when the ranges of the packs went up as well. Like other creators were also like putting out 50 loops, 40 loops, 60, 70. So I think in general it's better to have like more loops, because also it pushes creators to like team your packs, you know, like the ethnic packs. It's like one team, which is cultural references stuff, but within the pack you have like these 8 or 6 or 7 sub teams which you can use with loops, which is better because like I think like before people would just like push in 1 or 2 teams and then just stretch out the amount of loops just to fit in the 20 loops or the 30 loops and then call it a day. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely bringing some extra value any way that you can,
and
either with quantity or variety or both.
Yeah, and the thing is, in retrospect, like when you do a VJ survival kit, it's easy, like 100 clips. You know, if I push myself like 2 or 3 weeks every night, like push out 10 loops a day, that's possible in a style of VJ survival kit. But then when you do the ethnics, it's like, oh man, this takes forever. Yeah, and then I fucked myself with the ethnic too, like going 3D. It was like insane. Like then I had to model and texture and all. Like the first ethnic was just like line drawings and like basic After Effects, some glows, some shaders, and that's it. And then with the second one, oh man, I think I worked like 8 months on that or something. Yeah.
Wow. And you didn't even learn from that. You started doing robots after that.
Yeah. But those are the thing is like, if coming back to the, like what works on Reslin, what's a great pack, like the VJ survival kits, man, that's what people want. And I also like from a experience, like doing festivals, those VJ survival kits, you can throw them in, you can combine them with other loops, and you can repeat them on a, like if you're having a really long set, like 4 or 6 hour set. If it works, it works. You put them on, put on a different color, you know, maybe just like change the position a little bit or the scaling a little bit, and nobody will notice. Compared to like a Baltic or an ethnic, like if you put on that samurai, like you can do it for 2 or 3 tracks, and then rest of the day you can't use it because like people will recognize it. So I think that's a big thing with the VJ survival kits and those kind of packs, like the more abstract, more diverse packs. Also in genres like the Baltic, you know, if you have like minimal Ibiza, beach lounge, house, you can put on Baltic. Can use survival kit. Like if you have like the hardcore sets, you can put on VJ survival kit. If you have the dubstep, you can use the Baltic, but you can also use VJ survival kit. So like it's a more universal pack, so that works. But the thing then is the, you know, like the like I mentioned before, like the creative egg. You know, VJ survival kit doesn't fulfill that itch. You know, I do the Baltics and the ethnics and all those packs like for that creative itch that I have. So yeah, the VJ survival kits, those are just like for the people that really want it, and they like ask me for, can you make one more? I really like those. So yeah. But those work. And like the Baltics and the, you know, for the amount of time I put in the packs to the times they get sold, VJ survival kit is all the way. And then the Baltics, if it's for the time you put in, it's not even worth it. It's more for the creative age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. The utility and versatility of that pack, like, just like can't beat it.
No, like
but you need both out in the world.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
Because if it was all
for sure
squares and lines, like we wouldn't have much of a show. But I mean, I've run entire shows off of it, so just can't run every show off.
No. That's true. That's true. But the thing is, like also like the VJ survival kits, you can use those, and the artist, like whenever you have a touring set or you're going with an artist, you know, you can use those as well because nobody will recognize them and they match perfectly with light and stuff like that. But when you have like a Baltic or a ethnic or stuff like that, you know, your artist may complain like, hey dude, some DJ used my visuals like 2 sets before me, can't use those. And I get that as well. You know, I think I toured with, I don't know, it was at Tomorrowland. I was a resident. There was like this dubstep set. I was VJing and I was like throwing in, you know, I all day at Tomorrowland, I had like these electro and house DJs. I was like, okay. And then this drum and bass dubstep kind of DJ came up. And I was like, okay, it's on Baltic all the way. And then I crashed Baltic like for an hour long. And then I think 15 minutes before the DJ ended, the guest VJ comes in the front of house. He looks at my set. He's like, oh, fuck, I was going to use Baltic for my sets. And now I can't because I was using it for an hour. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, you made it. So,
yeah. Yeah. Trump cards. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. You do have to watch out for like repeatability.
Yeah.
Also.
And also like the you know, the VJ survival kits, you know, you can blend those, you can mirror them or rotate them and you have a different visual, you know, but with the ethnic or robotic. I even find like crushing the colors doesn't work, like turning the colors to red or something like that. It just smashes the visual. Like with a VJ survival kit, you know, you can do what you want. Put them on white, put them on yellow, put them on red, colorize them entirely, doesn't matter. Invert them, use them as a mask, whatever. Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit business-wise about these packs? Can you talk a little bit about how you think about them? Are they a marketing tool? Are they another revenue stream? And how does that kind of break down as far as like your time spent on different projects and your like income sources?
I think if you have like what's the best way to put it? Like if in the beginning it's good. Like if you're an up and coming artist and you want to learn, it's a great tool to like get into the game, get to know people. But like once you have the skills to do it, like I said, for me, it's just like this creative scratch, like this creative itch that I need to scratch. But like if I would go freelance, like tomorrow, if I would quit Prismax and go freelance, I would stop making visuals instantly and I would just do client jobs, because like the pay you get for like making custom content for like a top DJ is not comparable to the revenues you get from Resolute or from any other thing. Like, yeah, it's a great way to learn like how to structure a pack, what works, what doesn't work, what you need. Like think about creating a set, having a bridge, having a drop, having something that matches the beat well, have like a more mellow loop you can combine, and then like create tracks off of that. Yeah, like if it's money wise, it's a great way for a starting artist to start and like get a foot in the door. But like if I was a freelancer right now, I know I would go full-time freelance all the way for artists, DJs. Yeah, the thing is, it's like this. Money wise, if you have like this really like a VJ survival kit, yeah, I guess you can easily get the time you invest in it back. But like once you have like a client base or like how do you say, like your DJs or your clients, it's way easier to make money for them. The thing is like back also, like whenever I get like questions of DJs that come directly to me, like, hey, like I like your Baltic, you want to do something, I just bring them in to Prismax, because like it's you know, I see them as two separate things. Like that's not the way I want to spend my my time after work, you know, doing the same thing I do at work. So yeah.
Fair enough. Awesome. Thanks for the insights.
But I mean, I don't want to discourage people from making loops, you know. Do it do it. It's a great way to learn and get some extra cash.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is a valuable tool and a way to, if you're a VJ that's making content and it's, you're making these loops already, why not sell them to other VJs?
Yes.
If you,
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is like if you're like just how you say like a gypsy VJ, a traveling VJ going from event to event, I think you can get away with that. But like once you have like this main gig or main club, it gets it gets political real quick.
You don't want to sell client content.
Yeah.
That is a big no.
Yeah. Man, the stories I could tell, like also like the same thing with the story I told about the guy at the Tomorrowland, like this thing of rerunning visuals that you bought, or like the amount of DJs I have seen, which is like the VJ Survival Kit or other packs, and just their logo stuck onto it, like with a 3D loop turning around. And then they come like, hey man, it's the same loop. And they're like, I bought that from a guy who told me this was custom made for me. I'm like, sorry, dude. You just bought my loops and then put on a logo, sold it to you. It sucks. Oof. So yeah, it gets really gray zone real quick. So that's like also like when I think Excision came, they saw my Baltic pack and they're like, hey man, I'm gonna make some loops. I'm like, cool, but I'm gonna bring you in via Prismax and then we're gonna do it that way because I don't wanna mix or like have these ethical ethical dilemmas of doing stuff that's actually my day job, but on my own, and then selling them and stuff like that. So no, it's just loops for the masses after hours, and then daytime is for the paying customer.
We talked a little bit about the house VJ role, and you mentioned that you do a bit of that, mostly kind of just because it's part of the gig and a good way to like test things out.
Yes.
What, in your opinion, makes a good house VJ at a festival? And have you noticed any? Can you give us some examples or stories about them?
Yeah, sensitive subject. I don't know, like whenever like on Facebook or like on the Reddit or stuff like that, like whenever this discussion happens, things get heated. Now I think like everybody has their own style. I'm personally, and I'm very, very, very subjective, is like I use pre-rendered loops, always my own, very structured. I'll like to just like keep it pretty simple, put in a loop, colorize it. Like I said before, have a simple loop for the bridge, have like this thing I can flash with for like the build up on the drop, like the 4 bars on the drop, mostly like when the verse comes in or like the catch line of the track is set, I just leave it black. And then when the bomb drops, I just go for a BPM flashy visual and then start all over again. Like when the next song comes in, have some like 3 clips is mostly my kind of approach. And then the thing is with a good, like what I would consider a good VJ is like mostly the timing is important. The feeling you have for like reading the music, like that flow state whenever you're at a festival and you're VJing and you don't have like this the fancy time code stuff or the connection with the pioneers. You can see the next track. It's just like, I don't know what's coming, but you kind of feel like when the drop is hitting, or like, counting bars, counting 8s, counting 4s, counting 32s, stuff like that. And then just like going on impulse is some pretty basic stuff. Like everybody could learn that in my opinion, but some people don't have it. Like sometimes I see people VJ and I'm like, like I as a visitor, as a spectator, I don't know if people notice it, but I do know like when it's good, they do notice it, like that feeling you have when you're VJing and the light guy is next to you and you're like working together and you have like this own secret sign language, you're doing like okay, if a flash one time with white, next dropper going on full white, stuff like that. Or like when the light guy is giving you tips, like he's going blue and then like one flash orange and okay, we're going to mix in orange on the next drop, the small hints, like that's when you're in this flow state. And then then it's awesome, man. Like, and you see the people, and the people are there for the music, but it's nice to know you have like this little effect on them. You're a little part of the show. You're the little reason why people are jumping. So that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So that's a big one. And then colors are pretty. That's like for me a big. I don't know if it's like this cliche thing of unexperienced versus experienced. I think it's more of a thing of talking with the light guy or asking people like what they think, or having done a gig which was recorded for television or streaming, which is also like this factor that makes people think more of what they're doing, like color-wise, like if the light guy is going blue, follow blue, or take one color, but don't mix in two colors that aren't two different colors from blue. Like if the guy is going blue and you're going, I don't know, like red and green, that's not really a appealing color palette for people to watch. So that's a big thing. And like also like the over brightness of the LED, like when you clearly can see that the guy is pretty new, is when the LED screen is like burning at 100%, 1 o'clock at night, and people are like putting on their sunglasses because the LED is like, unless it's hardcore, then it's allowed.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And was this at Tomorrowland? We had this one stage where it was hardcore, and then we had to like pick straws of who the guy is gonna be that had to do the hardcore stage. I had to do the hardcore stage, and then pre-show we had this briefing with the management of the show, and I was like, okay, what do you want to see, and do you like this, do you like that, how do you want to do it? And the guy is just like, just put something on, and if you're doubting about what you want to do, just strobe with white. And I was like, oh yeah.
I feel
not
that
an appealing night. Yeah,
I spent EDC Vegas weekend working at the Wasteland stage, which is the hardstyle stage.
Yeah,
and it was
starting at like 160 ppm and then ending the night at 320 or something.
Yeah, I think I saw 500 at one point. Like,
yeah, just shuffle
turns
play
into a tone.
Yeah.
Those are good tips. Yeah, color coordination for sure.
Timing. Yeah.
Coordination with the rest of the show is something.
And also, like the thing is, like whenever we get guest VJs at Tomorrowland and they plug in, and you can see that like the color settings in their NVIDIA output settings isn't on full, and like their black is like this 10% gray. I'm like, dude, come on, put the color spectrum on full. And then like they're plugged in, the show is about to begin, and the LED screen is like giving off this like grayish vibe. I'm like, dude, it's not black, the LED screen is burning, it's like 10% gray. Yeah, that's a big telltale if they haven't been in the game long.
Yeah, that's an important one. We got I could make a super cut of like tips when I ask people for tips for VJs. That one comes
aspect
up.
ratio. Whoa. A circle is a circle, it's always around. Oh, I hate it.
Not a fan of stretching.
No, just crop it.
I love that. There's that post came out recently of like reasons why slice transform is broken or is not what you want, and he like goes through everything, and it's ends up being like it's a stage flow ad essentially, but he goes through it. He's like, you're switching all the settings and you switch it to stretch. Just kidding. You've never done that. Why would you ever do that? Why does this even exist?
Yeah.
But, let's go into a couple of little rapid fire this or that's, and then we'll give some advice to the people of the internet, and we'll start wrapping it up. So, rapid fire. What is your render engine of choice these days?
Main one is Octane, I guess. Still, I mean, like the most useful. The thing I love is Octane. The PBR, the lighting, path racing. It's awesome. And then I guess second is Unreal. It's cool, but still integration with stuff like it's an engine, but it's not a tool to make stuff. So you still have to do all the preparations in Cinema, do the UV mapping in Cinema, do the animation in Cinema, and then you export it to Unreal and you render it in Unreal. At least that's mostly how we work.
For sure. And it's, still early days. I feel like we rushed into using Unreal as a motion graphics tool over the last couple of years because of virtual production and XR and everything, but they're putting the resources in. So
yes, for sure.
Learn it now before it's too late. Is there a like plugin or trick or secret weapon that you have that you'd be willing to share?
My trade secrets.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think the main thing for me, like doing After Effects, I think the main thing I liked most or like enjoyed most when I found out it existed was scripts, like motion cloner, After Effects shader, array. DUIK is insane for After Effects. It's like this mini After Effects on its own. You can like create bones, inverse kinetics. You've got this like inertia pre-script. You can one click and you can align the anchor point of layers in corners, stuff like that. It's really insane. So scripts in general, I think, is a really easy way to adjust After Effects to your kind of way of working. You can bend it to how you use it. So that's cool. And then plugins, standard Trapcode, Red Giant, Real Smart Motion Blur. Deep Glow is my trade secret. Yeah, Deep Glow is insane. It's really like it's the difference in After Effects glow or Octane glow. Deep Glow is Octane glow. It's insane. It's pretty colors. And then Cinema. I don't know, Octane.
Octane is the secret weapon. Shit just looks good.
X Particles is pretty cool. I don't know. Like Cinema is on its own is like really insane. The MoGraph and the cloner and the effectors, and like I just saw the R25 like specs. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't got into it too much yet.
No. I haven't installed it because I'm on a project. So as long as I'm on a specific project, I don't upgrade. And then when time comes and I'm like in between projects, I do the upgrade because, it's always a hell.
That's risky. Yeah. Never update before show day.
I think it's Adobe now. Adobe does like these auto updates of softwares. So like the other day, I was just starting my computer. And I went from After Effects 2020 to 21 or 22. And I was like, what? All my effects missing. Yeah. All my scripts gone. And I was like, fuck. Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find that checkbox and get rid of it. Sure. Let's go into VJ land. What is your favorite Resolume effect?
Kaleidoscope. No. No, the thing Angelo made, the what's that with the color correction? Angelo at Division made like this script. It was before Wire came out. I think it was just before Resolume 7 hit. You made like the script where you can like do like basically one plugin to color correct your clips. So you could do contrast, brightness, colorize, tint, gamma, like this entire thing. And it was like just one effect you can click on a
Nice.
clip. Yeah. Instead of like doing the like the standard stacking up effects and then dropping them on clips, which sucked. So that would be the main one I use the most in Resolute. Not really a fan of like the maybe Kaput, like the one where you glitch up all the stuff, which is like easy, but that's it.
Nice. That's our second kaput shout out, actually. That's Drew Best from Imminent. It's also his favorite.
Yeah,
we should called it out.
It's like the like when I started learning Resolume, like everybody threw on like you can do this, you can do this, and like put on all these effects on like composition level. And like Kaput was like the only thing I used then with Kaleidoscope in the beginning. I have to admit, I have used it. And then the Kaput I still use. That's the only one I still use. Like I think that's like the only effect, like distortion effect I have on my entire composition that I sometimes use. And strobe, of course, but that's not really effect.
Yeah, I mean, I started out in the psytrance scene, so Kaleidoscope, you rotate all the night, way.
Yeah, yeah. No hate for the Kaleidoscope, but it's just like this. I don't know.
It's trippy, dude.
People love to hate it, but when it works, it works.
Yeah, you just got to use it sparingly. It's when it's on all night and the colors are spinning out all night and everything's on timeline, and you're just like, wow. Then like, all right, settle down. Let's see some clips now and then. What is your MIDI controller of choice? Do you have a favorite?
I started out with the APC, but I only did like one festival with those, and then we switched over to the Native Instruments F1s. Those are insane. I really like those. And then like Rock 2 F1s, you can program the colors, and I really love like the feedback they give. Like when you push a button, it's this like little click. I love that. Like you know, like when you're clicking, and it's like this muscle memory, like muscle connection you have, like when you click and you get the feedback of the beat. Like it's more like of a, like a feedback with the music. You can really like,
In general, is there a visual artist that you're excited about right now that people should check out?
Visual artist. I really like the work Man vs. Machine does. It's not really VJ-esque. It's just like motion design, but they are insane. And I really like the way they work. Like on Instagram and Facebook, they really like share their processes, and they're like this. Whenever a project starts, they just like everybody sits on their computer and they're just like, you know what, we're just gonna try stuff out, see what works. This is the team, and like everybody just uses effectors and throws on stuff and can do their thing, and then they just see what works, which is totally awesome. Because like I think it happens not enough in most studios. Most studios is just like really result driven. This is the look we want, this is what the client wants, how do we realize it, this is the way, okay, then we do it like that. And with Man vs. Machine, they're more like of a like flowy state, try stuff out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They really have like these creative solutions. Like they use, like I think they did the trailer for Cinema R22. It was like the slow motion shot of animals with like a chameleon and a parrot. I can't remember. And then they did this breakdown, and then some shots were 3D full on cinema, and then they just had like this I say like this parrots, like what's the word in English, like when they stuff a dead parrot and they put it on a closet.
Oh yeah, like taxidermy or something.
Yeah, taxidermy. So they're like these taxidermy and animals and like a fox and stuff. And then they just like filmed those with like red prime lenses, really cool shots. But they also
Wow.
had them in 3D. And so they switched in between. And that was insane. And then some other studios already been shoot, pretty insane. Then like the classics, Blur Studio, Epic has some real cool work going on. You know, you can bash on Fortnite, but those game trailers, I like the style of Fortnite, like the the cartoony yet stylized style. I really love those. And then like the who when those came out, that was insane. Love, Death and Robots on Netflix. That's an insane show. I really love like the short film vibe they have. Like every episode is a different style. Everything is really art directed, really stylized. I love those. I love seeing those. It's like the Animatrix back when that came out. It's awesome.
And to kind of wrap it up, what's that one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who wants to get into this field? Like what's something they should do or think about or whatever that might help to make them successful?
Oh, that's a difficult one.
The big one for the end, I know.
Yeah. I don't know, like don't get hung up on the like the things that are already out there, because I think today it's really easy to get bummed out about the quality that's already out there. It can be a drive, but it can also be like a how do you say, like a fluke, to have like thinking like, oh man, I can never be this good. I went to periods like when I graduated from school, we went to like all these film festivals, and then you can see what other students were making, and I was like, dude, these guys are also like looking for jobs right now. How am I going to get a job if these guys are looking for jobs, And then on the other side, like there's also moments like when you post stuff on Instagram or on Facebook and people are like, oh man, this is really insane what you can do, and la 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 la, and that lifts you up as well. So I think it's like this double-edged knife that can happen online, especially online. So I guess it would be like, in the first place, do stuff you like, for the reasons you like it. If you want to make loops, make loops. If you want to make robots, make robots. It's not because people already made robots that you shouldn't do them, or yeah. So I guess that would be like the main one. And I think like once you're in the industry, take care of yourself. Like if you're especially like if you're a full-time VJ and you're a traveling VJ, I think food is important. Don't always drink, sleep enough, or try to sleep enough, because those things, they get to you, man. I know people enough that like quit the VJ game, or like went under, or went through a pretty rough period because they were drinking too much, sleeping not enough, too many time zones, too much rock and roll lifestyle. So that like once you're in it, that can really get to you. Yeah, that will be the biggest ones.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is really exciting to talk to you welcome. And share your wisdom with us. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I wouldn't call it wisdom. Life experience.